Maybe I should have read the lyrics to Rock Queen before doing this video. Oh well, let's go inside the vinyl. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Inside the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you would go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below, that would be greatly appreciated. If you could also hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new content, that would be appreciated also. And we recently started a Facebook page, so go to Facebook and search Inside the Vinyl. You should find it there. Give us a follow. We do hope to be more interactive with that as time goes on. So today, I want to dip back into my Lost Classics series. I mean, I know I'm a little all over the place with unboxings and greatest hits and rehashes and whatever else, but I recently picked up an album at a record fair that I never thought I would own because they go for astronomical amounts of money on eBay, and most of them come from overseas, which I'm not always super trustworthy of. So I was excited to find this at a record fair, and I think this is the absolute definition of a lost classic. And I am talking about the band Love Hate and their debut album, Blackout in the Red Room. Well, hold on, I got to pull this out of the thing because I got two things going on here. We'll come back to the other one as well. So here we go. Okay, cover of Blackout in the Red Room. And here is the back cover. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a French pressing. It's actually a French promo pressing because there's a sticker right here that says, looks like, I want to say it says August of 1990, but I could be wrong about the month part. But let's see, it does say Radio France and it does say 1990. So cool, like promo copy I found here. But yeah, a little background on this record. So Love Hates, Blackout in the Red Room was originally released on February 22nd of 1990. It did come out on the Columbia label. It was produced by Tom Werman, who, if you recall, produced a lot of the early Molly Hatchet stuff, as well as a lot of the early Motley Crue stuff, and somebody named David Kahn. It only reaches as high as number 154 on the Billboard charts, and there's no gold or platinum. When I was reading through Jizzy's bio, the singer's name is Jizzy Pearl. When I was reading through his bio years ago, I think he said this sold in the upwards of around maybe 200,000 copies. So not bad, not terrible. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, and we'll get to this here in a second. But again, here is once again the front cover of Blackout in the Red Room and the back cover. All right, and if we go ahead and pull out the inner sleeve. Okay, on one side, it looks like we have the Love Hate logo and lyrics. And then on the back side, Blackout in the Red Room over here, and what looks like more lyrics and some liner notes. And then, nothing too crazy about this record here, just, standard black vinyl with the CBS sticker in the middle. So it might have been CBS overseas and it was Columbia here. I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm just going on what Wikipedia told me. So, again, not a whole lot to it there. Nothing else inside. But and then just for shits and giggles, this was something else I picked up at a record fair a while back, probably a year or two ago. But it's actually the single for "She's an Angel." So there's a few tracks on here. There's "She's an Angel," "One More Round," and then "One More Round Live," and then "Slave Girl Live." So I guess maybe three different tracks or whatever that appear on this record. But the cool thing about this is the record comes out. There's nothing too crazy about this. Again, CBS logos and everything in the middle. This actually folds out into a poster of the band. Yeah, so on one side you've got this. On the other side, I'm sure, I'm about to mess it all up. And on the other side here, I'm sure that's not all coming through on the camera, but it's the best I can do. But like a little two-sided little poster thing, so pretty cool, pretty cool. And I had this, when I bought this, I was thinking this would probably be the only Love Hate that I would actually have on vinyl. So I was pretty stoked about that. So yeah, you can only imagine how stoked I was when I found this at the record at a recent record fair, like maybe what, 2 weeks ago, two or 3 weeks ago. All right, so let's place that there. Let's talk about this album a little bit. So, in my opinion, the best songs on this record are, of course, the title track, "Blackout in the Red Room," which got a lot of play on Headbangers Ball, and still gets some play today on like maybe some of the like serious like Hair Nation and stuff like that. Rock Queen, and then a song called "Why Do You Think They Call It Dope?" I think, which was another single. But let's see. It's so funny because when I got home, I was so excited, and then I put this record on, and my wife didn't get it, because the lyrics. I mean, if we're being honest, the lyrics are a little dumb. The band is amazing, and I like the lyrics, but I mean they are kind of dumb. Uh, but but I told her I was like, "No, don't worry about the lyrics. Just listen to that bass line on "Why Do You Think They Call It Dope?" Right? Do 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 do. It's just like, I mean, it's just amazing, and I love this record. But a few reasons theories I have personally that I think why maybe this album didn't take off as much as I would have liked it to, and the band didn't really take off as much as they should. I'm not going to blame grunge because every freaking 80s and early 90s band wants to blame grunge for their downfall. This album came out almost a year and a half, or more than a year and a half before grunge hit. And, unfortunately it was already, maybe not dead in the water, but it already kind of come and gone by that time. So has nothing to do with that. It might have killed any future plans they had, but it did not kill this album. But honestly, what I think it was, and a big reason that I think grunge was able to take over is because by like 1990, I think this is one of the last like sleazy, like truly sleazy, guttural like LA bands to come out. They were dirty. They were just kind of trashy or whatever. I mean, obviously the lyrics and stuff are really trashy on this record. And I think by that time, as much as I love that time, as much as I love that style and I love this band, I don't think the public really wanted to hear that anymore. I think the people that were still into the hair metal, stuff or whatever, really like the cleaner, more flashy, more pretty, like I hate to say it, but Bon Jovi-ish type bands. The Firehouses, even the Warrants, Extreme, even though I think they were a little more than a hair metal band personally. But a lot of bands like that, like Steelhearts and all that other kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. I just think with that coming on the horizon, and the guys being much, much prettier and a little bit cleaner and maybe not so like scummy looking, I don't know that there was a place even in 1990 for a band like Love Hate. Because, if in some ways I kind of feel like maybe they could have, ignited a spark much like Guns N' Roses had done 3 years earlier. But I just don't think the market was ready for that anymore. And unfortunately, because of a lot of what was going on with the bands that were coming out then, I think is why there was a place for grunge to basically come in and kill the scene because the scene at that point had basically killed itself. So that's just my theory. I could be completely wrong, but again, in my opinion, one of the last truly scummy, sleazy LA bands to get signed and come out, and almost make it, was Love Hate, and I truly love this record, and I think this is a lost classic that I think everyone should hear. Uh, Good chance, unless you want to spend a dump load of money on eBay and wait months to get it, you're not going to find it on vinyl. I don't know if it's ever been reissued or if it will be reissued on vinyl, but if you like CDs, the Rock Candy record label over in Europe did do a nice reissue on this, and I think you can get that off like Amazon or whatever. It's also available digitally, and I think I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but if you want to download and have the MP3s, I think you can still get this and their other three records for free off Jizzy Pearl's site. So check all that stuff out. And last thing I'll say about this before I go, Jizzy Pearl has been singing for Quiet Riot, Rudy Sarzo's Quiet Riot for several years now. I went and saw them maybe like 4 years ago. And the greatest thing, I was excited to see them as it was, but the greatest thing that happened in the middle of that show is Rudy Sarzo talked about how much he loved Love Hate and the song that they were about to play, and they busted out Blackout in the Red Room, and it made my night, man. Just such an amazing thing to hear a song that I love sung by the guy that wrote it and sang it in the original band. So that was a very 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 cool moment for me, and the rest of the Quiet Riot show was great too. But that was like the big moment for me. So again, check it out: CD, digital, streaming, whatever. Get it on vinyl if you want to spend the money. But I think this is a very fun record. If you like kind of like stupid, you like not socially conscious lyrics, about chicks and banging and all that other kind of stuff, but with really, 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 really good musicians. This is a cool record to check out and really one of the last of its kind from that era. So that's all I've got for you this time. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new content. I have the rest of my Lost Classic series. I forgot what I was doing. The rest of my Lost Classic series, where we talk about albums that maybe got swept under, or maybe went under the radar that I think everyone should hear. I've got another series on live albums that I do periodically. I've got a new series on greatest hits albums, where we talk about greatest hits and other compilations and things, and the good and bad. I've got my unboxing series where we open up new albums, reissues, box sets, deluxe editions, whatever. Sometimes they're even CDs. It just depends on what's coming out. I've got some live footage from concerts and festivals from the past several years. I've got some random disc golf stuff from several years ago. And I've even got a couple of short documentary films I did for school. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.